Hey guys, Polar Pro Scale Models, welcome to the build series. Today we're going to be starting Tamiya's 1/24th Nissan 370Z along with a zoom on trans kit. So yeah, I reviewed this kit and trans kit a while back now. And here we are today with the build. And this was a part of our Nissan Z or Z build, wherever you're from, whatever you want to call it, that we did just after Christmas, I think it was. I think we started in the new year, if I remember right. Mostly taken part with my patrons, but I think a few other people took part in RSM as well. So any Nissan Z car was eligible. A few of us, I think it was about three of us, built the Tamiya 370 with the Zoom on Wagon trans kit. I think it was myself, Mark, and Gary built them. So it was nice to have a buddy build in amongst a big group build as well. And quite a lot of people took part in this. So at some point, I'll get pictures of all the builds and we'll collect them together, definitely. But it looks a good kit, looks a decent trans kit, and I'm really interested to start it. Picked a really interesting colour for this as well. I think it is. And yeah, there we go. We'll crack on with the build. Don't forget, you can get early access on all these videos by becoming a patron in the link down below. You get 3-month early access. You can join our patron support group over on Facebook, a private group just for patrons. You can join our chat group. There's nearly 100 of us in there, I think, or 80 of us in there. Loads of people to chat to and talk to about modelling. I do a bench update every Sunday where I look for all the work on the group and talk about what's going on. And you can get 10% off for per-scale paint as well. So there's a few bit perks and benefits to becoming a patron, and you keep me being able to do this as my day-to-day job. There we go. Anyway, let's crack on with the build. Right then, so the Tamiya 370Z and the Zoom on Wagon trans kit. I've already reviewed this, already gone through the box. And we're picking up here today, just clipping some parts off the Tamiya sprues. So we've got the resin body to the right, and we're just cutting off all the parts we need to add to the resin body from the original Tamiya kit. So we've got the front bumper, we've got the side skirt, and I think that is about it. We've got the mirrors as well, somewhere along the way. Now, obviously, we went through the whole kit, so we're familiar with what's in there. And we're going to have a quick test fit here, how everything's going to line up. And this lines up pretty good. I've got one little bit of like excess resin that's just in the way on that top piece there that I just need to cut away. But other than that, the fit of that front bumper is actually really good. So the easiest way to deal with this was to just chip away at it very gently with a scalpel. It was just a little bit of excess resin, nothing really massively wrong. It was just like a little bit of swarf flash resin, but it was just stopping that bumper from sitting flush where I needed. So quick go over with the knife, and that's pretty much spot on now. So now I'm just weighing up how I'm going to attach it. So obviously this needs super gluing on. It's the only way to do it. Same with the side skirt as well. So as with always, test fit every single part. Do not commit to any glue till you've test fitted everything. Make sure everything lines up properly, doesn't leave any massive gaps. If it does, you can sand things and rectify that now. So everything seems to line up pretty well on the side skirts as well. So we're going to give it a little bit of a sand on the back. There's a resin plug. It's the pour stub for the kit. So it's quite a substantial piece of resin. And all I'm doing is hitting it with a sanding sponge. I think it's about 210 grit. Can't remember now. 200 grit. Just to get rid of that. And then once that's gone, hit it with the thinner sponge. The softer sponge to clear it out. Now there are some wisps of resin here and there around the kit, which you're going to get on most resin kits. It's not actually attached physically, it's just little wisps. So the easiest way to do it is to go around with a knife and just scrape it off. Now, one annoying thing about this is there's an awkward seam on the very back near this diffuser. Myself and a few of the guys that built the kit noticed it. It's on all the kits, but it takes like 3 minutes with a sander just to sand it away. It's basically like a resin seam line. It almost looks like it's supposed to be there. I mean, for all I know, it could be supposed to be there, but I didn't like the look of it. So a few minutes sanding it away, and it was gone for good. Nice and easy to do. The beauty of resin is it's really nice and easy to sand. We're going to give it a light rescriber as well with a Holly 0.2 scriber. Obviously, you can use your scriber of choice as well. Just take your time here, don't be slipping. Marking resin's an absolute nightmare. And then we've got a Tamiya 2000 grit sponge, and we're going to lightly key all the surface. That'll give us a good prep for our primer. got thousands of micro abrasions in the resin. Resin's one of the harder materials to prime, I think. With lack of primer, it tends to chemically etch itself, bond itself to the plastic. It doesn't work that way really with resin. So making sure you've keyed it properly and fully degreased it is the best way to go. Once you're done there, we're going to start attaching some of these Tamiya parts. So we've got some Bob Smith's, is it Instacure? I think it's the Instacure, the purple one, with one of our precision tips. I'm just going to get the center section glued in place. Now we want to put enough glue in there to hold it, but not squeeze out the front. So don't put a huge amount in. And this is how I do it. A little bit underneath to hold it, and then coming from behind, yes, and just apply a nice bead of super glue behind. Now, the capillary reaction should carry it into the recesses, especially with these precision nozzles, which are absolutely brilliant at this job. We sell these over on ProScale. We've got several different types. Once that's glued in, we put a little tiny bit on those locating points on the side. Push it in. Again, we want to glue it in place without having super glue splooge out everywhere. And yes, splooge is a word. And then once we're happy, we'll go behind it again, add a bit of CA glue, and then we'll get some kicker on a micro brush. Dry it instantly, and basically it just adds strength to the back as well. And obviously be careful with your fingers here. You don't get glue all over it. It ends up all over the model. When you're actually attaching the parts to the resin, less is more. It really is. You don't need a huge amount just to get it in place. You'll get the strength from the CA glue behind it. Like I say, what you don't want to do is all to squeeze out into that panel line because it looks awful. So just take your time here. And there we go. Side skirts exactly the same. Little blob of super glue where we need it. Test fit again. Commit to no glue until you've test fitted. And then where the locating points are, just put a little bit of glue. Tiny bit, you don't need a huge amount. Any extra you can wipe off, there we go. And I did not wipe that on my trouser leg at all. Definitely didn't. And then this locating point on the back, we can glue it in place. The Insecure set instantly, as you can see, it stuck my finger to it. Then we can come behind and just put a little bead of CA glue just behind those parts there. And again, sets almost instantly, and we can always hit it with some kicker if needed. There we go, as we've just done there. And then once we've got the two attachment points done, we can add a nice bead of CA glue down the back to hold the entire thing in place. And I find doing it that way keeps it nice and secure. This bead of CA glue down the back is what tends to do best of all for me. It just adds a massive amount of strength. It really does. There we go. Like I say, those precision tips allow for real precise application of that glue. And if you flick your kicker all over the bench, like I obviously have here, and then just touch it, the capillary action will carry the kicker around and instantly set that CA glue. And there we go. I've done this on most resin kits I've worked on with the trans kits. Never had a problem with any parts coming off. It works really well. I opted to glue the door handles in place. I did try stripping the chrome off these. Not a chance. Typical Tamiya chrome, it's a nightmare to get off. I tried bleach. I could have tried other methods. To be honest, I found 90% of the time, because it's not your stereotypical chrome like you get in Revel kits and whatnot, the plating is actually quite good. If you just flat it back and prime it, it tends to do the job just fine. Now, where we keyed all the surfaces before, we're going over again with the Tamiya 2000 to get rid of any fingerprints, any glue marks, anything that shouldn't be there, just to make sure, again, we've got a perfectly prepped surface. And then we've got the spoiler as well. So we've got the spoiler to do, wing mirrors, and then the ancillary part. I've opened the holes up on the roof a little bit with a reamer, just to make sure they fitted in place properly. And there we go. That is the body prepped and ready for primer. One last step. We're going to thoroughly degrease it. So this is ProScale Paint Pre-Paint Degreaser. So all over, and this will get rid of any fingerprints, any crisp chip marks you've been eating while you're at the bench, chocolate fingerprints, any nasties that might be on the surface left behind from gluing. And it just gives our primer the best fighting chance. Not that it really needs it, but like I say, resin's one of those materials that I've had it lift myself with masking tape before, so you want to do the best prep you can. Sanding back, keying the surface and degreasing it is an absolute must. We've got this mounted on our Tamiya stand, we've got our Tamiya anti-static brush, and we're in the spray booth. So we've got our 0.2mm Iwata Revolution CR, sorry, 0.3mm CR3. We've got some Pro Scale. I think we're going with grey primer on this. We are. Quite a while since I built this kit, so a little bit rusty on the colours I've used, so bear with me. We've got plenty of builds to still edit, so there's quite a backlog of builds to get through, so I'm a little bit behind on these. But this is Pro Scale's grey primer. It's a microfiller primer, so this will infill any imperfections, micro imperfections in the resin or the plastic. It's lacquer, so it dries very, very quick. It's going to drive a little bit of texture, but once you sand it back, it'll be super smooth. That is the idea of a microfiller primer. It's ready to spray out the bottle. For most people, some people find they need to thin it. It's probably like a 50-50 majority. Some people get on fine with it, others don't. You can thin it with either our paint thinner and cleaner that we sell, or the likes of Mr. Hobby Level and thinner is just fine as well. And it needs thinning a touch. It is a thick primer. It's how it's supposed to work. But it does cover really well. It's going to take a few coats to get rid of that yellow look of the resin and the plastic, but we'll keep going. So nice light coat to begin with. Don't go crazy. And don't forget all the other parts as well. So we've got the spoiler. I think we've got wing mirrors there as well. Just give everything a nice even coat of primer all around. Let it flash off for 3 to 5 minutes and then come back in for your subsequent coats. And there we go. After about 4 or 5 coats of primer, we're ready for paint. Now we're going with Maserati Aqua Marina. Very weird colour. I found this by accident looking around. I was literally looking on our paint database and found it. And I thought, what the hell is that? Found a real picture of the car. And it's crazy. It's like a weird greeny grey colour until the light gets it. Then it gets like a blue pearl colour to it. It is a really crazy colour. So it's a 2-stage paint. Obviously we're primed. We let the primer dry for about 6 hours. We've flatted it back nice and smooth with a Tamiya 3000 grit sponge. We've got our same Auto Revolution CR3, 0.3 airbrush again, 18 psi, and this is the base colour of the kit. So we've got nice light coats building up, not wet coats at all. It's not how our paint works. It's just a nice light even coats all around, and what we're just aiming for here is to get nice even coverage everywhere. So because it's a 2-stage paint, this is the base colour. So this is basically laying the foundation down for our pearl coat that will go on at the end. The 2-stage paints are matched together to work together, and with colours like this that are so odd, it's crazy. So basically this is putting like a grey base colour down, like a grey-green base colour, laying the foundation for our top coat. So we give everything a coat, nice and even, leave it to flash off for 5 minutes, and then come back. And with every other paint coat, we're changing direction. So some are going left to right, and the next one we're going up and down. That way we're getting all the crevices, panel lines everywhere. We are about, what are we on now? Probably about 4 or 5 coats in. I'm going to put about 8 coats of the base coat down. Tends to be what I put down of each one. As you can see, we're going up and down passes on this now. We're just spinning it round. As you can see, the colour's built up really well. We've got a nice base coat there ready for our pearl coat. A little bit out of shot. I think I knocked my camera. My camera got nudged forward here. I think it's like this for quite a while, so bear with me. I will notice at some point. And then obviously every time put a coat of paint on the main body, put a coat of paint on these small parts too. And just be aware it's very easy to flood smaller parts with paint as opposed to larger bits. So with the base coat done and dried and no imperfections, we've now got our pearl top coat. Now this is a very transparent top coat, so it's very opaque. So what you want to do here is build up nice and slow. Now I put about 8 coats down on this, and I did get a nice colour effect. In hindsight, I wish I put a lot more down. I wish I put about 16. Honestly, I really do. Sounds like a lot. I got the colour flip, I just didn't get it to the extent I wanted. This one needs a lot more, and this is where testing comes into its own. If you test on spoons first, you'll see how many coats you need. I didn't, I just winged it. And while the paint effect I got was nice, it just wasn't quite the colour flip I was hoping for. But it is what it is. It's one of those things, so just bear in mind when you're doing it. With the tint coats, I think more is less, if that makes sense. Not less is more. I think as the paint's so thin, you really do need to double down on the amount of paint that goes on there. But it's a lesson learned. You know, although this is my paint, I've been modelling for quite some time. Every day's a school day, and you learn something different. And for me, it's to put more of that colour down. You can see how weird the colour is in the bottle that's in our 3D holder, just to the right. It's a very, very odd colour. It really is. But yeah, whilst I do get a good paint effect, I wish I'd gone a bit heavier with the tint. You can see the colour coming through now, how unusual it is. Very unusual. So, like I say, I think I've got about 8 coats down in total. I'd said it before, we're alternating between left and right passes to up and down. Just nice, light, even coats. No wet coats at all. Just nice, light, even coats. And you can see there, we'll get more of a colour flip once the clear goes on. But I really wish I put more of the tint down. I really wish. So lessons learned for next time, we know. And if I can make a mistake and save you guys doing it, then there you go. I'm doing my job, aren't I? So if you're using these 2-stage paints and that top coat, tint coat is very opaque, put a little bit more down than you think. A few more coats, just so you get the effect properly. And obviously, as we're doing every coat on the body, we're doing subsequent coats on the other parts as well. 5-minute flash off in between. You can leave your paint in your airbrush, not a problem whatsoever while you're doing this. And there we go. So with that fully dry, it's about 4 hours later. The beauty of lacquer paints, they dry super quick. But now putting a Tamiya panel line on. So this is Tamiya's enamel based panel line wash. So this won't react with the lacquer. So you can put this on a few hours later. I think panel line washes are a very important step of modelling, especially car modelling, military and whatnot. It just adds depth. And a lot of people always come back with going, oh, it looks too stark. If you look at cars like this from a distance, you can see the door shuts. You can see they look darker. They really do. Maybe not as dark as black. I often do a metallic grey. But for me, it's just the effect I'm looking for. You can see that beautiful colour on this when it catches the light. It really is an amazing colour. Really, really is beautiful. So, yeah, I'm glad I chose this one. I just wish I'd gone a little bit heavier. But, like I say, lessons learned. It's just one of those. So, we're wiping off the panel wash. It's been drying for about half an hour. We're using some Santador odorless mineral spirits from Winsor & Newton. And with all that wiped off, we'll let that dry overnight. And we're in the spray booth the next day now. So we're all set up for 2K. So I'll go through the 2K spiel in a minute. So this is ProScale Paint's 2K set. I have wet the tissue in my spray booth. That way if any dust lands on it, it'll stick to the wet surface and not fly around into the model. We've got our 2K paint set here from ProScale. So this is 2 parts clear to 1 part activator. And I literally just had enough in this bottle to do this model. Literally, the last few drips got to the perfect mark on the medicine cup. So we're going to mix roughly around 6 to 8 ml of clear. So if you're doing 2 parts, if you're doing 8 ml of the clear, you need 4 ml of the activator. 2 parts clear, 1 part activator. So for every 2 ml of clear you do, you need a ml of activator. It's as simple as that. So there's the clear gone in. We're using a fresh pipette, and we're measuring out our activator, and we're popping it in. Do not contaminate the bottles with pipettes, because you'll ruin your paint set. If you put any of these pipettes in another substance, don't put it back in the bottle, because you'll ruin the set. So there's the activator in. We're going to stir that all together. So roughly in there, we've got 8 ml of clear, 4 ml of activator. That's our 2-to-1 mix. We'll mix that all together. There we go, nice and thorough. Crystal clear it should be. If it's cloudy, your activator's gone off, regardless of what brand 2K you're using. If it goes cloudy with the activator, your activator's gone off. It is a sundry. It is an item that has a shelf life of about 3 months, roughly, depending on how it's stored. So if it goes cloudy, throw it in the bin. We've now added 5% thinner to that mix. So if we've got 12 millilitres of combined clear and activator, 10% of that would be 1.2 ml. 5% would be 0.6. So there's 0.6 millilitres of thinner in there. It doesn't need a lot at all. I'm straining it through a 190 micron paint strainer to get rid of any nasties that may have got around the cruddy lid of the activator, because it does dry around the lid and you don't want it landing in your clear coat and landing on your model. So, model securely mounted. It's taped to the stand. We've got our Tamiya anti-static brush. Give it a good wipe over. We've got our plastic tub to the left to store it in between coats and when it's off gassing as well. And we've got our 2K mix here ready to go. So this is an Iwater CR, which is a 0.5mm Iwater Revolution. 20 psi I spray out roughly. I said 18 before, but it's actually about 20. And we're going to put down a nice semi-wet coat all over this model. A nice even coat. We're not going to try and get a nice clear coat in the first go. Again, we're laying levels, we're laying foundations for our upper coats that will do the magic job the 2K does. So just nice overlapping semi-wet coats all over the body, working our way around until we've got nice even coverage. We're going to do the spoiler and the door mirrors at the same time. Now, safety. I've got my bench vent spray booth there on, one of the best airbrushing spray booths you can get for the hobby. My windows open a crack, so I've got a nice through draft. I have full length arm gloves on to keep my arms covered. I've got 2 nitrile gloves on that left hand, 1 on the right. I've got my full face 3M respirator on with applicable filters, and I'm in the room on my own, and I'll be leaving the room once I'm done to allow it to off gas. If you follow those safety precautions, 2K is perfectly safe to use. So you need a good extractor, you need a good respirator, you need gloves, you need to keep it off your skin, and nobody else in the room with you. That's the best way to do it. And to keep dust off your model, nice plastic box to store it in between coats, and that's it. Nice and simple, nice and job done. Keep it off your skin, keep it out your lungs, you're perfectly fine to use 2K. Not a problem at all. So there's our first coat done. That's put in that box for 5 minutes to flash off. I've sped this footage up a little bit now because we're basically repeating the first steps. It's the exact same mix of 2K. Yes, it has been left in the airbrush. A lot of people ask me that. I leave it in there between coats. You can leave it in there for hours and it won't dry because it's in such a volume, it won't dry. 5 minutes to flash off. It goes super tacky and allows our next wet coat to go on without running. As you can see, we got a nice wet coat on there now, overlapping the coat so we keep that wet edge all the way around. And we're just trying to get a nice semi-wet coat. We're not trying to get a full wet coat on this one. We're going to get that with the very last coat in a minute. Of course, have a quick look around, back in the box. I'm going to do the mirrors and the spoiler. Now what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to put all our 2K back in a fresh medicine cup to see how much we've got left. And we're going to thin it a further 10%. So we put our mix back in the bottle, or the medicine cup, and we've got 10 millilitres of combined clear and activator and everything's left. We're going to thin that 10%. So 10% of 10 mil would be 1 millilitres. So we're going to put in there another 1 millilitres of thinner. Now it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a huge amount. 2K does not need a lot of thinner, which what makes it so safe over decals because it's not hot. So by adding this another 10% of thinner, it's going to drastically thin the 2K. So here we go. There's the thinner. There's the applicable measurement, which does look about milliliter to be honest. Mix that up again. Fresh pipette, throw the pipette away. Never use them again. There we go. And this will drastically thin that 2K. Now what this will do is it will make it atomize easier, it'll spray easier and faster, and it will self-level a lot easier. Now we've already laid our ground base coat for the 2K with those nice semi-gloss coats. This will spray over it and self-level that out. Absolutely beautiful. I've tried every way with my 2K to get the best results. This is our product, ProScale. Me and Hannah own ProScale. And this is by far the best and easiest way to get good results. So you'll notice it does spray a lot thinner, a lot faster. It lays down absolutely beautiful. And you'll see it self-leveling before your eyes. Now with 2K, we say this every time. What this looks like when you're done is how it's going to dry. So it should look like glass. Completely perfect, like still water. If you can see any imperfections, any orange peel, anything that isn't super smooth, put more 2K down. Don't be afraid to push it. It is very forgiving to use, especially our 2K. Of all the 2Ks I've used, this is the most forgiving one. I've pushed this way beyond points I think I could, and it's worked absolutely perfect. So don't be afraid to push it. You want a perfect gloss coat. So pop it back in that box for a minute while you do the other parts and let it self-level out for a minute or two. We'll do all the little bits. Just be careful a little bit. It's easier to flood them because they're smaller. And then once you're done, before you commit to completely throwing away the 2K, get the model out, use your light, angle it, and have a look for any imperfections. If you can spot even the slightest bit of orange peel or a little bit of clear that isn't quite as flat as it should be, put a little bit more 2K down. It's not a problem. Put a little bit more down until it's gone. And there we go. That's going to be left in the box for 4 hours. It'll be touch dry after then. It'll be ready for me in a week to polish. I always leave a week. And there we go. We'll be back for part 2 very soon. Thanks for watching today. As always, you want to get access to these, you can become a patron in the link down below. And as always, a huge thanks to my patrons whose name's going to pop up on screen now. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.